Gyokyo, talking about Buddhism. And this is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and finally working on it. This isn't the first thing I'm recording. I've tried a couple times, and yesterday even came up with I thought was an episode, and then realized it's not quite right, not quite what I want to do. Basically want to talk about Buddhism, talk about stuff I'm thinking about. It's hard because I think about stuff while I'm in the shower, while I'm driving, and it's kind of going through my head, and those would be the times to maybe talk them out. But don't always have my phone there to like suddenly click on and start talking to it, right? And so that's really one of my stumbling blocks. What do I want to talk about here? And I guess it's stuff that I think about when I'm thinking about Buddhism, when I'm thinking about my life, when I'm thinking about the world. One thing I did think about today was kind of the issue of no self in Jodo Shinshu, because that idea of no self and the issue of the self, quote unquote, right, is kind of a big issue in Buddhism. And I feel like Shinran has a very interesting take on it and doesn't really address no self at all, but I think he does talk about what his view of the self is. And so that's something I'd like to dig into. It's related to other stuff I've been thinking about of, aspects of myself. I feel like part of Buddhism is self-reflection and in trying to increase your self-awareness. And, that's again what does Shinran say about what he finds in himself? Can I find similar things in myself, or is it totally different? How about you? Even if I find it, is it because I've been reading Shinran for several decades now? Have I been molded by that? So that's one of the related questions I'd kind of like to look at. One term that's come up recently for me is hubris. And I had to look it up. I had an idea. It's kind of some kind of arrogance, right? And I had to look it up, and it seemed to be a kind of overestimation of one's abilities. And I see that in myself. I see it going back a long way. I remember being in maybe 5th or 6th grade, living in Massachusetts, small town outside of Boston, and we were talking to a couple kids. I don't know if it was a break or what, and we were talking about Massachusetts, and I said, I've been to every city in Massachusetts. I've been to every town in Massachusetts. And the other guys looked at me like, I don't really remember, but I think they were skeptical. And I said it kind of unproblematically. Certainly thinking back now, there's no way I had ever been to all the towns in Massachusetts. No way, not even driven through, right? There's so many. And I've been through a lot. Having lived there for, 30 years of my life probably? 20. But why would I say something like that? And I think part of me kind of knew, maybe that's not true, but whatever, it seems like it could be true. So I think that's hubris. Overestimation of one's abilities, right? Overestimation of oneself. And so I did some digging yesterday looking at what classic Buddhism, like Abhidharma Buddhism or Yogacara, find in the self related to that. And, arrogance is one of them, right? This idea of arrogance. I think a lot of times, in modern times, we would say ego. But that's, more recent term. I don't know that really fits classic Buddhist psychology. Anyway, looked up this term arrogance, looked up what it means in Buddhism, found one or two Chinese, Japanese terms, some Sanskrit terms, right? So this kind of overlap. And one idea from a Japanese Buddhist dictionary is arrogance as viewing oneself as better than others. So that works, right? Hubris is maybe a little different, huh? So isn't that kind of interesting to start thinking about this stuff? Do I have a superiority complex and I think I'm better than everybody else? Maybe not. I don't know. I got to think about that one. But certainly, hubris pops up every now and again, right? This overestimation of my own abilities. So I certainly underestimate my abilities a lot of the time too. So it depends on the area, depends on what I'm thinking about, the context. But what then does Buddhism say about that? Should I try and get rid of hubris? Should I try and eliminate hubris from myself? Some kinds of Buddhism would probably say, yeah, that's arrogance. It's too too strong a sense of self that maybe is not good, unhealthy, not conducive to enlightenment. Okay, what does Shinshu say about it? What does Shinran say about it? I feel like his approach is very different, and that the point is not to try and delete those negative, quote-unquote, negative aspects of myself, right? Not to try and remove them. So is it to indulge in them? No, I don't think it's that either. Those would be the two extremes, right? To just mindlessly indulge in hubris or try and eliminate hubris from myself. Shinshu's different. And I think part of it is certainly recognizing it, being aware of that, but also realizing, yeah, that's part of what makes me me. That's part of who I am, for whatever reason. And it goes way back. So this to me is very much what my Buddhism is. Living my life, looking at myself, and addressing it from kind of a Buddhist perspective, from Dharma perspective. So this might be the kind of thing I talk about here at Gyokyo, which is my Dharma name. I'm also just going to call it that for now, I think. And this vlog, right? Does anyone even use that term anymore? But I'd like to talk about this kind of stuff more. Let me know if you have stuff you want me to talk about. One request I had was to talk about Buddhism and music, and that might come up. I can't make guarantees. Sometimes I kind of keep them separate in my own life. But that's always changing, right? Are they really separate, or they start overlapping? So we'll see. Give me other ideas, and hope to have more episodes soon. All right, take care.